Hey, Pure Soul members. Welcome to the month of April and happy Easter. I'm so excited that you're here with me today, and I can't wait to share this month's spiritual focus topic with you, which is called A Moment in Time. Before we get started, though, I do want to share a few Almapura updates with you. Beginning this month, the Pure Soul Ask Nikki Zoom will take place on the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. I hope you can join me. That'll be April 20th at 6 p.m. Wednesday this month. For those of you that can't make it to the Zoom, please don't feel excluded. Even if you can't attend the Zoom, just send me your topic suggestions or any questions that you have, and I'll make sure to include them so that you can watch later when it's posted to the Pure Soul members area. During this month's Ask Nikki Zoom, on Wednesday, I want to focus some of our time discussing the concept and ideas about forgiveness and how that impacts our life and how it impacts the life of the people that we're connected to. I thought it would be a good topic to start with because it's Easter and it's just a great time to refresh and renew and forgive. So we will be spending a little bit of time during our Zoom live to discuss forgiveness. I hope to see you there. I also wanted to take a moment to tell you guys thank you so much for being part of the Almapura Pure Soul community. It really means a lot to me. I love connecting with each one of you, and I try to think of ways that will enhance the way that I do things so that I can provide the best possible experience for all of you that I can. So if you have any suggestions or any constructive criticisms or any ideas that you would like me to think about doing or that you would like me to get better on, please always feel free to share that information with me. As part of your membership, you do receive pricing perks and special offers. And this month, there is a 25% discount on the Almapura services for our members only. This is a great coupon to use for like a past life reading or an Akashic record reading because those readings take a little bit longer to do, so they're a little bit more expensive. And the 25% discount really helps knock down the pricing for that. So maybe you'll think about that for this month and take advantage of the coupon that's available to the members. I also had another idea, and I hope that you guys think this is a good idea. Um, Please share the Pure Soul opportunity with your friends and your family. Invite them to join our community, invite them to take a look at the page and the members area to see if they like it. They might really enjoy the things that we discuss and the things that we're learning about as we move forward. You know that we've been doing this since June, you guys, and it's already April. So we're almost coming up on a year that we've been part of the Pure Soul members. And I think I would love to include more people, more friends, and more of your family members. So here's what I thought. That for every person that you sign up or every person that you invite that ends up becoming a Pure Soul member, you could receive a $10 additional discount on any individual reading that you have. So if you like round up 10 of your friends and all of them become members, then you receive $100 discount. And this offer is good all the way through the month of June. So I thought we would do this for April, May, and June, that if you include a friend and they sign up, you get a discount. That also comes on top of the 25% discount. So if you schedule a reading, we take 25% off, and then on top of that, you get $10 additional discount for every person that you bring into our community. So for this month, for the month of April, May, and June, please feel free to share the Almapura Ask Nikki Zoom link with your friends and your family so they can join us this time when we do it on the 20th of April at 6 p.m. Each of your invitees can participate in the Zoom Live one time. Hopefully, they'll like it so much that they'll join our community and be able to participate every time after that as well. Okay, So let's get started on our spiritual focus topic, which is called A Moment in Time. So, A Moment in Time is a game I used to play with my daughters when they were really little and all the way through their teenage years. The game consists of me scaring the crap out of them when they least expect it. And trust me, I did that a lot. And I know it sounds terrible, but it was so funny, I really couldn't help myself. They would come around the corner in the kitchen and I would like jump out at them and scare them. And of course, they would scream and jump up and down and grab my arm or drop to the floor. Sometimes they would be even in the middle of telling me something about their day or about a book they read or a TV show they watched, and they would get so serious and detailed telling me about it. They were they were very expressive and very detailed kids, so I would always enjoy listening to their stories. But even though I was listening very intently to their stories, I was always looking to find an opportunity where I could startle them, like in between sentences. So, of course, at that time, they didn't think it was funny, but I thought it was funny. And I swear to God, I'm not a mean mom. There is a method to my madness, and there's also a really valuable lesson behind the moment in time game. I even started playing it with some of my friends because once I explained to them the benefit of the game, they also wanted to check themselves. So they eventually figured it out. My kids eventually figured it out, the lesson behind the game, and they got better and better at it. And eventually I was not able to scare them at all. So to explain how this game works and how it came to be, I just want to talk about how your spirit leaves your body. And I don't know if you know, but your spirit leaves your body several times a day. So I'm going to go through some of the times of day that your spirit leaves your body to give you an idea. And I know that as I'm explaining these things, you're going to recognize the different times in your day that your spirit kind of comes and goes from your experience. So, the very first one I want to talk about is how your spirit leaves your body at nighttime. So, when you sleep, your spirit leaves your body, and you can think of your spirit body relationship like you think of the sun and the moon. During the day, your human self is kind of what's in control of your experience. And at night, your spirit self is more in control of your experience. So your spirit transcends out of the human body during the sleep state. You may be aware of this, you may be privy to this, and you might even catch your spirit like transcending into the next realm as you fall asleep. Let me give you an example of that. Okay, have you ever just been falling asleep and you're still in your conscious mind when, like, all of a sudden your body jolts or it jumps a little bit and you can feel the jump, but you can't stop it from happening. And as soon as it happens, you fall asleep. Like, immediately after that jump, you fall asleep. No one really stays awake after the jolt or the jump. So your spirit is kind of leaving the body at that moment, right? When you feel that bump, your spirit transcends out. Most of the time, you're not going to know or have the awareness that your spirit has left your body because at night the conscious mind is sleeping. However, dreaming is a conscious memory of your spirit having had an independent experience from your human self and then trying to share that experience with you through the dream state. So, dreaming is a conversation between your human self and your spirit self. Another way that your spirit, or another reason that your spirit would leave your body is to gather information for you. So your spirit can leave your body to gather information for you that could be used later as intuition or guidance. When that happens, your guidance and intuition usually will show up in your conscious mind within about 3 days. And you can recognize this kind of transcendence when you find yourself like in a zone or in la la land. Think about it like this. Have you ever been driving in your car and you're listening to the music and you're kind of just zoning out and You're kind of like absent from yourself. And then all of a sudden, you get this little panicky feeling, and then you recognize that you have no idea where you are. And it takes you a minute to take in your surroundings and look around and be like, oh, okay, I know where I'm at. And that can happen when you're driving. And as this happens, that little panicky or nervous feeling that you feel right in between your solar plexus and your heart chakra, this is what alerts you to the fact that now you are back. And now you have kind of returned to your body. So think about it. You're in a zone, you're thinking nothing, and then you land back in your body and you feel that little panicky feeling and you discover you have no idea where you are. And this tells you that your spirit has returned. It's difficult at first to notice when your spirit leaves your body, but you will always notice when your spirit returns because you'll have that little nervous sensation, and then you'll have to take a second to like take in your surroundings to figure out where you're at. The other way that your spirit can transcend out of your body or leave your body is if your spirit is a spirit guide for another person. So, for example, many of you have seen me over the years, and during your sessions, your friends and your family in heaven, they share what kind of spirit guide that they are for you. So, there's a lot of different spirit guides. You have a principal spirit guide, you have a spirit guide of divine timing and protection, intuition, health and well being, karma. There's a lot of them. So, your spirit may be a spirit guide for someone else, and that may also be one of the reasons why your spirit leaves your body. For example, I had a joint session with a mom and a daughter last week, and during the session, I was telling the daughter that her grandma living in heaven was her principal spirit guide. And then her mom's spirit told me that she was her daughter's spirit guide of health, well being, and intuition. But her mom was alive in a body and sitting right next to her daughter in the session. So, how can a person who's alive on earth be a spirit guide? And that's because your soul is eternal and it has its own existence that is independent of the human body. So you don't have to be dead without a body to be a spirit guide. So your spirit can leave your body to be a spirit guide for another person. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so astral projection is another reason or way that your spirit can leave your body or transcend out of your body, but this one is a little bit different than the other one. So, astral projection is more difficult to recognize or to kind of grasp because astral projection indicates that you're consciously aware of your travels and you can perceive and maintain both the physical location where you're at, and then when your spirit goes to transcends out of you, you're also holding on to the location where your spirit went to. So it's kind of like your physical location and your spirit location are both simultaneously being held in your conscious mind. So that's astral projection. So, okay, so one time I was on my way to work and I wondered if there was going to be traffic on 90. So I was wondering that as I was getting on the expressway at Randall and 90. And I remember I pulled onto the ramp and as I was pulling onto the ramp at like the exact same time, I was also seeing the exit for Cumberland, which is about probably 40 minutes from Randall and 90, and I saw that there wasn't a lot of traffic. So my spirit stretched out of me, or like astral projected to a location further down 90, and I was consciously aware and present at both locations simultaneously. So astral projection is a little bit more difficult to grasp, like I said, but if you start to kind of do try it like that. Just wonder if there's any traffic and see if you can perceive that and also hold on to the current location at the same time. That one does take a little bit of practice, and I have not mastered it myself yet, but it has happened to me several times during my experience with Almapura and with my awakening. The other reason that your spirit will transcend or leave your body is in a moment of trauma or fear or chaos or shock or deep grief. So your spirit does this as a way of protecting you in all ways, analytically, physically, emotionally. If your spirit needs to protect you from in a physical aspect, and I'm sure you've heard of somebody saying this to you before, that like, I know I was in a car accident, but I don't really remember it. It's like I blacked out or something, or I can see myself in my mind being thrown from the car, but I don't really have a physical memory of that. This would be an indication that the spirit transcended out of the body for the purpose of protection. Similar to having a baby. You know you were in labor, you know it hurt really bad, but you don't have a physical memory of it. Once they put the baby in your arms, it's kind of like a dream, or it's in the background. You don't really remember having experienced that level of pain that you do during childbirth. So you more have just a mental picture of it. Let's say that your spirit wants to protect you emotionally. And so the spirit transcends out of the body and kind of just resides a little bit up above it so that you can be at peace or eased in your emotions. So I remember when my mom passed away, and I was in a very deep grief about her death. And I don't the thing is that I don't remember the day of her funeral. Like, I have a mental image of it in my mind, but I don't remember anything about the entire day except that I got a ticket when I went to go buy pantyhose at the Walgreens before the funeral church service. That part I do remember. I remember feeling pissed off at the officer because he gave me a ticket and I told him that my mom died and he didn't care. He just said I couldn't park where I parked. So I can feel that remembrance. I feel I can, as I tell you the story about it, I can feel it. I remember it. And that was the part about the officer giving me a ticket and not letting me park there. When you remember the feeling and the knowing that goes along with the memory, that's the part that my spirit was present for when I went to get the pantyhose and the police officer corrected me for where I parked. I remember that. I feel that. I know that. I carry the memory inside. And when I talk to you about it, I feel those feelings again. Okay. Um, but in reference to my mom's passing, I don't remember if we had a luncheon afterward. I don't remember who came to the funeral or who didn't come to the funeral. I don't remember anything about it. I don't feel anything in those memories either because it's like blocked out. It's like I was on autopilot. And so your spirit, when he or she wants to protect you emotionally, you'll transcend a little bit out of your body, but the thing that you're really struggling with is the thing that will elude you. You see, like, the experience at Walgreens doesn't elude me, but the whole day of the funeral does. So that would be where your spirit transcends to protect you emotionally. Now, to protect you analytically, when your spirit leaves your body due to an analytical experience, it's a bit more subtle, and you don't really pick up on it unless you're well versed at how your spirit comes and goes from your body. So I remember when I was working at my last job, and I truly thought that I would be working there until the day I retired. So in a million years, I did not expect to get laid off. But it happened. My boss asked me to come to his office, and he told me that the application developer jobs were going to be outsourced to India and that I was losing my job. And I heard nothing after he told me that. I went into like la la land or into a zone, and I didn't even know what to think. So I floated around like that for a few days with distracted thoughts, low ability to communicate effectively with anybody, and I was all in my head. And I also was not all in my head. And when I reflect on that, I think I was feeling like a shock type of experience. So when we have analytical overload or our spirit transcends for the purpose of slowing down those thoughts. So it feels sort of like you're absent from yourself, and it's okay to be in that vacant space for a while because when you do come back to yourself, you'll be standing on a bridge of hope. Your spirit will come back with new ideas, new motivations to get you through the analytical overload that you experienced, like when my boss told me that I was going to get laid off, and I was like, boom, I was gone. And then I just kind of stayed in this empty space for a few days until my spirit came back, and then I had ideas about what jobs I was going to apply for and what would I do with my free time since I was going to get laid off and things like that. So when I talk about those that when your spirit is connected to you for analytical, physical, and emotional, and that your spirit can transcend out of your body to protect you from fear, from grief, or from a dangerous or violent situation, that's where I got the moment in time game. So I'm sure you're wondering now, like, about the moment in time game I used to play with my children. So let me tell you kind of that this game never existed. I'm the one that came up with this game, and I never heard of anybody else scaring their children for the purpose of teaching them some lesson. But the idea for this game came to me from my spirit after an experience that I was involved in. So I had gone out with some friends dancing, and we decided to meet there. So we were all in our own cars and we had a great time. I love dancing, so I was one of the last of us to leave the club. And my friend that also stayed late at the club had parked like on the other side of the building. So when we left the club, she went to her car and I went toward my car. When I came up by my car, I was like fumbling and looking for my keys, and this guy grabbed me and like flipped me around, and he made me drop my keys, and I freaked out. This indescribable fear came over me, and I like froze and I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I got like sucked into this tunnel in my mind, like whoop. It was the strangest feeling. And the man grabbed my arm and he went to punch my face. And because I had went for the keys on the ground that I had dropped, when the punch came toward my face, it was really, really, really slow. Like so slow that I had time to duck away from him punching me. So I actually beat him to the keys, grabbed the keys, and then he went to grab my hair. But again, it was so slow. It was like in slow motion. And I was thinking, like, are you kidding me, buddy? If you're gonna kill me, kidnap me, uh, take me hostage, or hurt me, you're gonna have to move faster, right? It's like I can't even explain this experience because at the time it was happening, it was even blowing my mind because I'm a good fighter and I won. I beat this guy and I got away from him. And yes, I'm a good fighter, but that's not why I won. I won because I had plenty of time to win. I had time to think. He was way too slow in his response time, or at least I thought he was slow. I thought maybe he was drunk. Like, why was his action so delayed? So, have you guys ever seen the movie Spider-Man that was out in the theaters like 20, 25 years ago? Remember the high school fight scene where Peter Parker and Flash are like fighting in the hallway? That's exactly how I felt when this guy jumped me. Time was moving incredibly, incredibly slow. Um, I had plenty of time, you guys, to react and to defend myself. I could pick up my keys, I could punch him, I could push him away, I could knock him down. He looked confused. You know, he was laying on the ground, and I stood there for like what seemed like an hour, but was probably only a half of a second before I got in my car and drove away. So what happened? Why was my viewpoint so slow? And why did I have enough time to react and to defend myself? And I had to sit with this and pray about this for like a few days because, oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't know how it had happened that way. And the closest I could get to explaining it was by comparing it to the Flash and Peter Parker fight from the Spider-Man movie. So in this instance, I would have been Spider-Man, and the guy that attacked me would have been Flash, if that makes sense. So after praying about this for several days because I couldn't shake it from my brain, I realized that when the man attacked me and I felt that instant, like that instant intense fear wash over me, that fear basically paralyzed me because I like froze for a second. But then immediately after that feeling of being paralyzed, that paralyzing fear, I got sucked into this tunnel thing in my brain and everything slowed down. My mind was clear. I was able to calculate my next move. And I'm thinking, like, how is this possible? But when my fear paralyzed me for that second and I was sucked up into that tunnel-like feeling and everything became silent and it was only my thoughts and my observance of the situation, it's like if I was playing a fight game with the attacker or like rehearsing a movie fight scene or something. He moved so slow. So, how did I have enough time to respond to his attack, but he didn't have enough time to respond to my retaliation? And so the answer is this: we were experiencing the same point in time from two different levels of perception. For me, it was definitely slow motion because I had too much time in between his motions to calculate my next move. So I had a sense of knowing in response to that fear. Like I felt when he grabbed me, he caused my spirit to dodge out of my body, but I didn't leave my body fully. I just sort of transcended into a different space above it. And I knew that this meant my spirit wanted to protect me from the trauma that this situation could have caused me, and she was going to make like take dominance over my physical body to protect me. So my viewpoint did not belong to my human self, but to my spirit self. And there is no time in heaven, so there is no time measurement in spirit. Time is a construct of our humanity, and we've talked about that before, so we all agree with that. The key here, though, is that my spirit didn't go far away from me. She stayed close to me, like right up above me. And it didn't take me more than a nanosecond to be the observer to my own situation and not the participant. So it was like if my body was doing what my spirit said, and in that space, I had plenty of time to react. So I remember telling my friend how thankful I was that my spirit didn't go far away from my body and that she stayed close so I knew what to do and I knew how to react. She stayed close and I'm alive. Of course, I don't know what could have happened if he would have gotten the better of me. I didn't know his intentions for grabbing me so aggressively to begin with. Did he want money, my car, my life? Was he going to hurt me, rape me, or kidnap me? I literally had no idea. But what I do know is that the thing that I was most thankful for is that my spirit didn't go far away. And after, and like being that I had a 4-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter, I started to think about them. What if something like this ever happens to them? What will they do? Can they defend themselves? Will they be too thrown off by fear and shock that something like this can cause that they would lose a few precious seconds that they need to react or to get away? To avoid being kidnapped or thrown into the back of the van? Like, would they have the skills to protect themselves? And I know that 1 second, that one moment can make all of the difference when there's something traumatic that's happening. So, did something traumatic ever happen to you? Did you find yourself saying like, "Oh, I wish I had 1 extra second. I would have figured out what to do." Now that I look back on it, I wish I would have thrown up my arm to defend myself, or I wish I would have, done this or done that. And the reason that we can't react in the way that we want to react is because that fear takes over us. So if we can come back from the fear, that brings our spirit closer to us. So how do we go about doing that? And that is the whole brunt of the lesson of a moment in time. So I started to run some tests on my kids since they were the ones I was worried about. So I see spirits and I see spirits in people's bodies. So I can see my daughter humanly, but I can also see their spirits and see what their spirits are doing and saying. And that's the main reason people usually come to see me, is so I can talk to their spirits for them. So if my daughters are with me in body, I can also see if their spirit is saying or doing something. So I thought, I wonder what'll happen to my daughter's spirit when they are scared or startled like I was that day. And what is their response time to a shocking, dangerous, or like traumatic situation? And I have become aware that my spirit needed to be close enough for me to react. So I needed to make sure that my daughter's spirits would come back right away so that they would be able to think clearly and calculate their next moves to save themselves. So I started first with Britt because she was 12. And we were standing in the kitchen at the counter, and she was telling me about a book that she had read. And she was being very detailed and totally motivated about the book when, out of the blue, I got right in her face and yelled, "Ah!" with the intention of scaring her. So I wanted to create a startling or feel fearful experience so I could track her spirit. So let me tell you, this girl's spirit dodged out, ran down the stairs to the far back wall of the family room by the fireplace and stayed there. So while her spirit was there by the fireplace, Britt upstairs in the kitchen was with me, was like freaking out. She started screaming, started hitting me in the arm and telling me like, "Oh my God, mom, stop. Oh my God, why? Why, mom?" She didn't really move. She didn't think either. She was just screaming and hitting my arm like people do when you scare the crap out of them. So after about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit less, she calmed down and she was calming down. Her spirit self, like gingerly walked up the stairs from the family room and rejoined her body. Then she was calm. Then her thoughts were clear. Then she could think. So I did the same thing with Marissa. She was coming around the corner in the kitchen and I said, "Boo!" And her spirit did the same thing as Britt's, dodged out, went to an outer edge of the house, far away from her human self. And I kept doing this a lot. And my goal was to see if their spirits would be able to one day come right back to them or to just transcend above a little bit so they could have a quicker response time if there was a difficult situation that they were encountering, because this literally can save your life. Over the course of the next year, the girls would have a shorter and shorter response time. It stopped being fun because I kept trying to scare them, but their spirits would just lean out and then go right back in inside of them or go up above them, and they would calmly say, "Haha, mom, I'm back already." Within a nanosecond, they could return or they could transcend. And it was really amazing. They learned it really quickly. 8 years later, when Marissa was in the seventh grade, she called me from her friend's house after school. I thought that was weird because she should have come home right after school, but she didn't because of a situation that had occurred. She got off the bus with her friends after school by the park, which was okay for her to do. And they were all talking for a little while, and then everybody dispersed and went to their own homes. So everyone lives pretty close to the park except us. She had to walk about 3/4 of a mile to get back to our house, and on her way home, she noticed a guy getting out of a van, but she really didn't think anything of it. At least then not until he was literally like right behind her, following her. And she said when she realized that he was following her, she like freaked out, but only for 1 second. She said that she felt her spirit leave, but then come back and tell her to go to Aaron's house and to run. As she started to run, the guy picked up pace and started chasing her. So she got to Aaron's house, and the guy was like 2 feet behind her when the dad opened the door for Marissa to come in the house. Um, and the guy that was following Marissa got really spooked and he ran back to the van, hopped in, and drove away. So they called the police, and when they called me, and then they called me. So I answer the phone, and Marissa says, "Oh my God, Mom, thank you so much for teaching me moment in time. This guy was chasing me, and I got scared, but my spirit came back right away and told me to go to Aaron's house, and I did. And I started banging on the door, and Aaron's dad helped me, and we called the police." So I don't even want to imagine what could have happened if she didn't know moment in time. And that was something that she said to me later on. Like she's really glad that she learned moment in time so that she could come back from that scary situation and jump into action. And that could make all the difference, those few seconds. The police did come and they took her statement and everything, and they did tell us that there had been several reports of a guy trying to pick up kids in a van and from their way home from school. So I was really happy that her spirit was able to come back to her so quickly that she didn't spend time in the fear and was able to kind of bounce back. And that's what I think the moment in time game was about. Your spirit leaves your body several times a day and night for different reasons. And if you get to know your spirit and become friends with your own spirit, you'll become aware of those comings and goings, and you'll become aware of so many different things that you can't, you like, it'll blow your mind, things you can't even imagine. And a moment in time is fun to think about. It's fun to practice. It's fun to scare your friends and your loved ones and kind of startle them when they walk around the corner and you say boo. But seriously, aside from all of that, your spirit can save your life when your response time is connected to heaven and not connected to earth. And so I don't know, maybe get a scare buddy and see if you guys can scare each other at inopportune times, and then track how long does it take you to regain um, a calmness that would allow you to think of your next move. Are you gone for 30 seconds? Are you gone for a minute? Does your spirit dodge out? You know, when I startle the kids nowadays, literally their spirit just leans out and comes right back in. And it's almost impossible to startle them nowadays, which I'm happy for, because I know that if they are in a situation that startles them, they'll be able to have that thought process to take action and hopefully help themselves. I hope that this topic of moment in time and an explanation of how your spirit comes and goes from your body will enhance the friendship that you have with your spirit and teach you how to settle quickly after a shocking or difficult experience. So, if you guys have questions, reach out and let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And I hope this helps. And please join me again for the Zoom on Wednesday, April 20th, and for April, May, and June. Please invite your friends and your family members to connect with our Zoom Live and take a look at the page. So hopefully, if they would like to join our Alma Pura Pure Soul community, we would welcome them. So thanks so much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.